Hi, this is going to be my session 6 reflection. One of the main kind of things that I really took out of the O'Brien article was that students today are really familiar with technology. They use it in their everyday life, iPods, smartphones, cell phones, computers, internet, really pretty much anything, probably things I've never even heard of. And I just really think that it's something we need to familiarize ourselves with as future educators. Myself, I don't have a teaching job yet, but in my future practice, I think it's really important for us to be and stay familiar with the different technologies that are coming about, especially since our students will know about them. They are growing up with them. My generation, we grew up with computers, we grew up with the internet. I couldn't imagine, having to do a research paper without the internet. I feel bad for people who had to. But that's one of the main kind of things, that really stuck with me from that article. And then from the 6 videos that we had to watch, I got a few things out of that really kind of hit home. As far as meaningful learning goes, if it's not relatable to the students and, it's really not kind of clicking with anything they already know as far as, building up background knowledge and things like that, they're not going to remember it. It's not going to mean anything to them, especially in social studies, my content specialty. If they don't relate to it, why are they going to want to remember? You need to really, kind of point out the specific things as to why they need to know, why it's important to their lives. Otherwise it's, this old dead guy, they don't really care. So I really think, that's kind of an important thing to keep in mind. Student-driven learning was another thing that I tried and used during my student teaching experiences, to really have the students, choose a question and research it, and that'll keep them, really interested in the topic rather than, okay, here's Christopher Columbus, find out what you can about him. That might not be what they, are interested in. You need to let them, ideally, in as many situations possible, pick what they are interested in and, choose the questions that they want answers to. Otherwise, it's not going to be relevant to them. They're really not going to, relate with the material. And then as far as researching goes, I think, having them, figure out answers rather than just answering their questions for them, it's going to mean a lot more to them, and they're probably going to remember the answer a lot better, rather than having me tell them. Another thing I used during my student teaching that I noticed they mentioned in those series of 6 videos we had to watch was that everyone should have a job. I used that a couple times when we were doing group work. Someone's a recorder, someone's a, researcher, someone's a timekeeper, things like that. Just so everyone feels like they're welcome and they're part of the, classroom effort, whatever it happens to be doing, whatever you're doing, students need to feel involved. Otherwise, they're gonna tune out. They're not gonna, care what you're talking about. And, that's important. Yes. So, the other thing I kind of recognized as we are using it, as graduate students, was Google Docs. I've used it for a few of my classes at UB. It really is great. You don't have to worry about a flash drive. You can, as long as you have access to the internet, you can really, you can get access to your accounts or, presentations or whatever you happen to be making wherever you are. So I thought that was pretty great too, that one school is actually using that and the students have an email account. I don't believe when I was in high school that I had an email account. If they did, they didn't tell me about it. So I think that's really awesome. Really, emphasizing the idea of collaboration, as young as you can, especially as us, future educators, collaboration is everything. So I think it's pretty great that they're having students start out with that as well. One thing that I didn't really know how I felt about it out of the O'Brien article.
One step forward.
they mentioned MySpace in it, which, okay, the article is from 2011, but I mean, I don't know many people who use MySpace anymore. Maybe they are, and I just don't know about it. But I thought maybe, while the article was good, don't get me wrong, I think, there was an issue with that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think people are using MySpace anymore. Not sure. But yeah, other than that, those were my thoughts. Kind of what, I thought of the different activities we had to do. It was very interesting. Some things I recognized, that I've done myself, so that made me feel good. So, see you next week.